What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. Alright, so in this one here, we're going to be taking Shadow Shell in against Galactus, and yes, I have done this video before. I have already done a video on Shadow Shell versus Galactus, but there is a small change now from then to now, and that is I now have her Awakening skill, or I had gotten her Awakening skill earlier, way back when they had the announcement, well, not way back, but back when they had the announcement of the change for the Awakening, which is now including the Mandalay Gem fragments. So when I heard about the Mandalay Gem fragments, I looked through all my level 70 characters that had Awakening skills, and I just unlocked all those Awakening skills. So that's why I have quite a few characters with their Awakening skills, because I was kind of like, okay, what are they doing with this Mandalay Gem fragments? I'm just going to awaken everyone so I don't have to worry about it. And yeah, she was one of those characters. So we have her Awakening skill here. Her Awakening skill is going to be the same as Blue Dragon's, and that is going to increase her crit rate, crit damage, but it's only for 10 seconds. She's got the Ignore Dodge, the Invincibility, and increase the All Attack, All Defense, which is the big thing there for her Awakening skill. And then we have her 5th skill leveled up, her 3rd skill leveled up. For the Isolate set here, we have Overdrive. It is a stage 6. And then for her Obelisk here, we have Guard Break Immunity with poison damage and a 180 proc. So we're rocking the Obelisk option on Shadow Shell here, and she's pretty much exactly the same as when I did the other video on her with Galactus. I haven't really updated anything. The Awakening skill is pretty much the only change for her. She's got 2 Ignore Defense Uru on her, which I don't think she needs those anymore. Yeah, because we're well over cap. She is a little bit low on pretty much all of the other stats, so I do need to work on that a little bit. But this is what she's going to be looking like for the video here. So those are her stats. That's what she's looking like. So now that she has her Awakening skill, let's see how she did against Galactus. Alright, so here we are loading into the fight. We've got 2 random teammates here to help us out. One with a tier 3 Cyclops that doesn't have any uniform, which I guess is fine because that's probably his best look in my opinion. And then the other guy has a tier 3 Sharon to help us out. But our focus here is going to be what Shadow Shell can do. So we have Beast for leadership, and then we have Coulson for his tier 2 passive, and of course Shadow Shell. So we opened up with the Awakening skill because generally we want to do that anyway for the buff from the Awakening skill, and also it's usually one of the better skills to proc on, or usually is the best skill to proc on, except for Shadow Shell here. So she has kind of a unique Awakening skill in terms of it doesn't really do a ton of damage. It's actually more of a support kind of Awakening skill. So when she uses her Awakening skill, it leaves that giant like tortoise shell kind of area of effect that's almost like Sharon Rogers' tier 3 skill. But one thing, look right here, I really don't like this. See, yeah, it roars and then does the shell thing, but did you notice that the entire time that I was doing the Awakening skill, my screen was black? I couldn't see anything. I can't tell you how many times that has gotten me killed. Well, in GBR specifically. I haven't played her a ton in War Boss Ultimate after getting this skill, but she does have the invincibility, so it should be fine. But in GBR here, especially against Galactus, like he could start doing this attack right here, the meteors, and I'll be in the Awakening skill, and I will be none the wiser, and I'll just start getting pelted by meteors and losing health, and I can die. And that has happened to me multiple times, mainly in the last phase when he starts doing the giant blue orbs of death. He'll start doing that. I'll be in the black screen, and next thing I know, I'm just randomly dead, and I'm like, oh, he was doing that. Great. Thanks for letting me know, game. Thanks for letting me see what's actually happening. You know, imagine that. I want to see my enemy when I'm fighting him. I don't want that black screen with my giant Mighty Morphing Zoid thing flying in, okay? So yeah, that's one gripe that I have about the Awakening skill. I really don't like that, and I believe it's the same for all of the Warriors of the Sky, that it does the black screen while they're doing the Awakening skill. And yeah, I'm just not a fan of that. It's just, it obstructs the fight so much. But anyway, enough about me complaining about that Awakening skill. As you can see, we haven't really been making a lot of progress here with Shadow Shell, and that's just because, yeah, her Awakening skill, it gives her the all attack buff 50%, which is fantastic. I mean, that's good. It helps out her regular damage, but the Awakening skill itself isn't really doing a lot of damage. And since Shadow Shell already wasn't doing too hot against Galactus here, it's not helping her much. So for Shadow Shell here, she actually didn't change too much from the first time I used her against Galactus to now. Yeah, because, what is it, the first time she did, gosh, I'm trying to remember, I had just looked at it, I think she did 17 million damage in the 10 minutes, 16 or 17 million, so she was well below what you want to see to be able to do a third of the damage, so I said that she wasn't a good option for Galactus. With the initial run there, that guy's Cyclops and all the characters are dead, so we just have the Sharon here. I said that she wasn't a good option for Galactus. She just didn't do enough damage. She couldn't do a third of the damage in 10 minutes, and she didn't even really get that close to it because she needed like 24 million, so she was like a good 6 to 7 million short. And even here with the Awakening skill, she still doesn't get to that threshold, so she doesn't get to a third of the damage. She gets a little bit closer, but not much. You would expect her to be a lot closer with the Awakening skill, but yeah, that's just this is how it works when your Awakening skill is more of a support kind of skill here. And also for all of the Warriors of the Sky, their Awakening skill doesn't seem to do tremendous amount of damage. Like for Blue Dragon is kind of the only other Warriors of the Sky that I have the Awakening skill for, so that's the only one I can compare to. But Blue Dragons does do a lot more damage, of course, than Shadow Shell here. But compared to like Mystique, Red Skull, Doc Ock, all of them, the Awakening skill does significantly less damage than them. So yeah, the Warriors of the Sky Awakening skill still just doesn't do a ton of damage compared to the newer Awakening skills. Because the newer Awakening skills, man, those things are closer to like tier 3 skills in terms of the damage. The damage is pretty nuts. But yeah, so for Shadow Shell here, like I was saying, not much has really changed. So I guess let's just go ahead and skip ahead to more towards the end of the fight here so I can show you the final results and the final tally here for Shadow Shell. And we are back at it with the black screen. Here we go. Yeah, get in there. Give me that shield. Nice little tortoiseshell. And yeah, as you can see, we made some progress. I mean, we're down to 16 bars, so that's better than nothing, but we're down to the last 45 seconds, so we didn't clear this, but we ended up getting close, and that's just because the Sharon was doing 99% of the damage here, so yeah, that wasn't my Shadow Shell getting that close. But yeah, so now we just gotta wait out this last 30 seconds here, and we will see what's happened. Oh, here we go again with the Awakening skill. And yeah, right there, the only reason that I switched or was actually aware, because as you can see, I couldn't see anything. So I had no idea he was doing that attack, but I've gotten it now in my mind to look at the other person's characters. So if I see them switch, or I notice their switch icon, or I hear them switch characters, I know I need to get out of there because something's going down. So that's why I switched characters, is because the other guy switched characters. So I was like, yeah, I need to do something. As you can see, we did about 21 million. So we did get, like I said, a lot closer to doing a third of the damage. We still didn't get quite to the 1/3 mark there. We're now only about 3 to 4 million shy, whereas previously she was like 6 to 7 million shy. So we had like a 2 to 3 million increase in her damage, which is nice, but again, it's just not enough for GBR here. So I still would say not worth GBR, and just because of how her Awakening skill works, I don't think she's worth getting the Awakening skill for in general. There's a lot better options out there. Her Awakening skill just doesn't hit hard enough, doesn't do enough for the character, and overall she is kind of a subpar character in terms of damage and utility in general. I mean, she's a good character, but like I said, with all of the kind of OP or like super hard hitting characters out there, she doesn't really stack up enough for me to want to use those resources on her for her Awakening skill. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video here. That was Shadow Shell against Galactus, I guess round 2 or Awakening skill edition, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.